Hey, good morning, Saturday Live, coming at you, part two. For, where are we at here? April 13th. Well, okay, go figure, April 13th. Actually, my childhood best friend, her birthday is today. So I do remember this date every year. Anyways, hey, greetings, good morning, everybody. I think the most important thing we want to do is a sound check so that people can respond back that they can in fact hear us. So Coach Kurt, go ahead and say something.
Just kidding. Good morning, everybody.
All right. We got Kay Curtis. Kay, let's see if we can hear you.
Good morning, everyone.
Yes. All right. How about Sarah?
Hello, hello, hello. How about an echo?
All right. So now I do not see us live yet to know if. Do you, Kurt? Do you see that we're live?
Yes, we are live. And okay, give us some feedback, guys. Can you hear everybody okay now? Pretty sure we're all right, Ann.
Okay. Alrighty. So now you have the slides showing on your screen. I
Not
gather?
yet. It's just our four faces so far. So
Okay.
I will transition to the slides now.
Okay.
And so
perfect.
we're over
Just
to the
kind of-
right, and the slides are over to the left. And I'll go to the Saturday morning slide first.
Okay, perfect. So there we are. Welcome new members. I believe, am I coordinating correctly? Are you on that slide, Kurt, or no?
I went back to the first one.
The first one, Saturday Morning Live. Here we are. It's been a really awesome, popular call that we do every Saturday. We're thrilled to have you guys here. And we'll go to the next slide, which is to welcome our new members. And if you are not yet a member of the e-commerce business school, you can just go to joinebs.com. So a big high five and congratulations to all the new members. We had a really fun video jam session yesterday with all our trainers, which happens to be Kay Curtis here, is one of our certified trainers, as well as Sarah Sodas. And we helped service everybody through some Facebook Live trainings yesterday morning, which was a lot of fun. And then we'll go to the next slide there, Coach Kurt. So a little bit about myself. I've been known as the Renegade. Created an international movement of online marketers, helping to create 6, 7, and 8-figure income earners. I sold over $20 million of my own products and affiliate programs. But more importantly, is I am the very proud founder of the e-commerce business school. And my greatest satisfaction is helping as many people make an income-changing lifestyle. So we'll head right into the next slide there, Coach Kurt. And this is to give people a little bit of a heads up of how we do our live events, where people receive awards when we have prizes, for which I think both of you ladies have won prizes, that being before receiving your certification through the e-commerce business school as certified trainers and coaches. So we are very, very grateful to have your participation in the community, as well as your expertise, which developed as a result of being here. So why don't we go back in time a little bit? I think people always get a little bit curious. Let us know your background. I think people get kind of curious about that part. When you came into the community, and I know both of you gals hit the ground running when you came into the community. So we'll start with Sarah. What did that look like? What were you doing in a previous life?
I wasn't winning prizes. I was just thinking when you said that, I remembered all the chocolate. There was a lot of more valuable prizes, but somehow that chocolate I remember most of all.
That's one of my favorite.
Brownies, right. Yeah, no, in a previous life, what was I doing? Oh, so things I'm still doing. I was a mommy, I'm still a mommy. And I have 2 kids, one big one and one little one. My 8-year-old is, I guess it was 4 at the time when I first met you. And I have a little hobby farm, which used to be more. We used to actually sell at the farmer's market, and it was a lot of work. Now we just enjoy it for ourselves. But it was a nice little adventure we did. And I was a software programmer for many years, and then sort of a previous lifetime as well. And I was an entrepreneur, and I ran a bicycle carbon fiber wheel manufacturing company. We designed and manufactured our own products, and it was a fully vertically integrated business, going from design through creation through marketing. And I did that with my first husband. And then moved on, and probably a bunch of other things too. I have an MBA, and I've been interested in business and creating new processes and new kinds of products and services all along. It's just fun.
That's awesome. And you came in 2015.
I did, which was, Anne was just starting up her, sort of the introduction to the Amazon world with arbitrage and retail arbitrage, which is something you may or may not be familiar with, but it's the buying of goods at one price and the selling of them at a higher price through the, you can arbitrage on many platforms, but at the time it was really particularly booming in Amazon, as it still is, although it's expanded quite a bit since then. And I didn't know anything about it. I saw an email from her and it was enticing. I wanted to try something new, and my systems background, I certainly thought that doing something from home would fit my very busy life and needing to be very flexible about what I do and when I do it. And I jumped right in. And actually, you know what actually really caught my eye was you were also just about to launch your book flipping program, teaching people how to buy used books and sell them on Amazon. And I really wanted to do that one first. But as I got to know a little bit more about what was going on, I realized I'd probably benefit from learning how to sell merchandise. It might be simpler to begin there and then move into the books. And it also worked out with the timing. You had an offering in Florida. I got on an airplane, I think within a few weeks of when I signed up, and went to Florida and got trained in retail arbitrage. And then I think it was in September that I got to meet you in Minnesota, maybe a month and a half after I'd started with the retail arbitrage.
Awesome. Coach Kurt, you can move to the next photo because that shows both Sarah and Kay training. So we had this thing back then, I think it was called the Race to Minnesota. So Kay, why don't you share, you know how to race, like nobody's business. We're going to talk about racing. So what was your former life? Where do you reside? And then you two ended up meeting up, I think, for the first time, September of 2015. But let's hear your backstory of what got you into the e-commerce business school.
So in my back life, I worked in the independent book industry for over 21 years. I managed 4 stores, one in the DC area where I live now, one in Chicago, one in Houston, and one in Atlanta. In the last 7 years of that career, I was on the board of directors for our independent group. And then I left that and was working from home and trying to find something to do, and that's when I became a renegade. So I actually joined Anne's group before she was in e-commerce and busted that system up, and then was working on stuff, and it's a lot of work doing that. The renegade side was a lot of work, I'm just telling you. I mean, all of it's a lot of work, but there was a lot of work involved. Anyway, I wanted to move into the e-commerce space, but having been in retail, I wasn't really back to the style. So I had a conversation with Coach Kurt, early June of 2015, and kind of was going over what was going on, were what I wanted to do. And he said, you know what, we're getting ready to launch Shop Your Way to Wealth at the end of June. I think that's going to be a good fit for you. So just hang tight for a couple weeks. So I did. Listened to the webinar and said, oh, I can do this. So immediately bought the program. At the time you were getting books printed, the books weren't ready. So you gave us chapter 1 digitally. I had that done in 10 minutes. And it's like, come on, I need the rest of the book. And so it was supposed to be done. This was like on a Tuesday. It was supposed to be done the end of the week. It wasn't coming through fast. Nothing ever works according to plan. And so by the weekend, you just decided to release the book digitally to all of us while we were waiting for our physical book. So I got the digital version on Saturday. By Monday, I'd read the book and I was out scanning. Mm-hmm. Immediately launched on, and then that I wanted to scan my way home. So I rented a car, and my dear hubby, who we've been married for 40 years, did not want me driving that from Maryland to Minnesota by myself. So he drove with me to Minnesota. I think we started on Thursday because I went to the Shop Your Way to Wealth workshop. So we got there Thursday. He flew home, and then he flew back the following Tuesday and then drove home with me so that I could scan my way there and scan my way back. We had the car packed to the brim, and I was joking on the way home saying, I don't have any more room. I have to stop scanning because I don't have any place to put it in the car. And I made that post in our group page, and Brian Cummings, our head trainer, said, put your husband on a bus and you can fill up his seat. My husband has never forgot that.
Did you put him on a bus?
I did not.
Oh, okay.
I didn't put him on a bus. My husband's probably the best packer there is. He loves to do puzzles, and he can rearrange and pack things better than anyone I know. So we made it home, and then Sarah and I, we met in September, but we didn't really click there. We got put in a mastermind group together after September because we had upgraded to your highest level at that point. And it was in that mastermind group where we really got to know each other and were really drawn to each other. And for the next year and a half, we probably went to every single event you had. We started the book flipping in September. She and I partnered up and we started JV Things with Wholesale in November. In January, we went to San Diego. And then in April, we were back in Minnesota, and there, you just cannot, while webinars are fun and Facebook pages are fun, there's nothing like the live events for the networking that you do. I mean, the training is always phenomenal, and you go into, but it's the networking in the hot tub that's great.
And and I'm glad you brought up about that. Coach Kurt, why don't you move down to, there's the business leadership mentorship with the roundtable, and then let's jump down to the subsequent slide, number 7, because so you two both came in the summer of 2015.
Correct.
Into Shop Your Way to Wealth. Then we had this event in September, and we had a race to Minnesota. And Kate, you kicked it off in a big way because you posted on the group page your Google map of traveling. You drove from Maryland to Minnesota, all the way scanning back, all the way to Minnesota. Why did you make an effort to come to the event? Because this is what we have going on right now, is we just made tickets available this past Thursday. Why did you do it, and what has it done for you?
I've always valued I love to learn, and I've always valued education. And with anything you learn, you're going to have a learning curve. That's just a normal part of life, and we never stop learning, so we're always in a learning curve. But I'm also one that wants to accelerate my learning curve. I want to move through it faster. I'm not content with taking it at a very slow pace. And so it was important to me to be there to get as much education as I could so that my brain could process it and figure out how I could do what I was doing faster. And I also wanted the flexibility to move into other areas as I was ready. Which is why I upgraded to the highest level, because when I wanted to do wholesale, I wanted the training available to me to learn wholesale. If I wanted to do online arbitrage, I wanted the training available for me to do that. If I wanted book flipping, I didn't want to have to wait for another event to expand it. I wanted to be able to get going ahead of time. But the events always take what you learn from the courses, which are phenomenal, and put it on steroids. And every time I have gone to an event, if the key is implementation, if you implement what you learn in the events and apply it in your business, it only took me 2 to 4 weeks to recover my investment in my education.
Okay, hang on. I want to have you repeat that again. What was that last sentence about? Because I know this is where people's minds go to, so I want to put a spotlight on it. All right, I'm going to have this investment into my business via education. And what did you say about the recouping of those expenses?
By implementing what you learn, making a plan, and implementing the key strategies that you learn in your training, it's usually only taken me 2 to 4 weeks to recover my education investment. So it's never been I've never been afraid to invest in any of the programs that you've offered or any of the events that you offered, because I know between what I learned in the courses and what I learned from networking with people there, I'm going to recover my investment very quickly by implementing.
That's outstanding. And I think in part, and then I want to hear Sarah too, from when you came to Minnesota, why you're interested. There's a mindset here that I think is really key to touch on. Kay, you are a massive implementer. You do not like to be held back. You want to accelerate at your own pace and not be beholden to someone else's schedule. Is there anything else? You have trained extensively on mindset. Anything else, a tip for people who, I think the game is won or lost inside the person's head. Maybe you can touch on that.
No question about it. If you're constantly thinking negatively, if you're constantly thinking in a lack mode instead of abundance, there is abundance everywhere. If you want to do something bad enough, you figure out how to do it. But putting your mindset in the right place, it never occurred to me that I wouldn't be able to do this. I always knew I could. Now, the way in my mind I maybe mapped it out and the way it turned out in reality were two different things. And that's okay. I don't have a problem with that. You're building a business, you're going to have stumbling blocks and things. But if you are constantly fighting your negativity in your mind, it's like you're paddling upstream all the time to try to do anything. And that's exhausting.
Yeah.
You flip your head around and you put it in positive space. Now, guess what? You're paddling downstream and the current is moving you. And so your ability to be able to accelerate is exponential, So it all starts in the head.
It all starts in the head. All right. Thank you, Kay. That is awesome, awesome advice for everyone who's listening. We're going to get the word out in a big way with everything you just said.
Getting lots of kudos on Facebook too, Kay. Lots of kudos, lots of love and thumbs up.
And Sarah, so what was going through your head? You get the course. You already said you flew down to Florida for the one-day Shop Your Way to Wealth. That was in the summer. We held those in August. We had a whole slew of them. And yet, boom, you're back. Then you're up in Minnesota. Probably
and actually in between I got on a cruise. I went
Of course you did.
I did. And it was actually motivation for me because I think from the time I went to Florida to when I left on the cruise, I had like 3 or 4 weeks to get inventory in. So I had to kick butt. I was like, okay, I'm just like, there's no way I'm going to do this any other way. I wasn't going to just drop my business. So I really shopped and scanned my head off until I had a fair amount of product in before I got on the boat. And it was incredible. It was a great family event, but it was really quite frustrating. I wanted better internet because all I wanted to do was get on my little phone and see what was selling. And the wonderful thing about the way I was selling was with Prime service through Amazon. So what they call FBA, fulfillment by Amazon, which means that I didn't have to worry about the inventory. Once it was at Amazon's warehouse, they took care of everything for me. So I just had the process on the front end of finding the products and shipping them in. And then it was just getting on the phone and seeing the money rolling in. So it was a total jazz. And I got to, that's all I wanted to talk about.
That's awesome. Coach Kerr, can you show the calendar to, I think it's slide 8. I'm just trying to track along here. So would you say for both you gals, it was extremely pivotal to come to the event? Sarah, I'll never forget you because we had a fun contest. And there is a picture of you in the air.
I can't see what your slides you're showing, but I can imagine them. Yes, that was.
I don't have that picture, but I remember.
Belly button and all. Yeah, I was. You want me to demonstrate for you?
Well, I think that speaks to be emotionally engaged with what you're doing, and you two, like you said, Sarah, you scanned your head off. That's what you said. And Kay, you hit the ground running.
Well, I admit it too. I was tracking that little map she had on Facebook. I didn't know this Kay person, but I sure was aware of her. So by the time we got to Minnesota, I flew to Minnesota. I was not driving, was not scanning there, but I was like, okay, I gotta watch her.
Yeah, who is this Kay lady? She's so enthusiastic.
Yeah, no, it's more than that. I was like, no, I take everything personally. It's not that I'm competitive with other people, but I definitely measure myself against them. So I'm competitive with myself. And I was like, if this is how you do it, like golly, because I saw her numbers. I mean, she wasn't just showing me the map. She was showing us all what she was selling and how much the volume that she was managing to scan and the sales revenue. And I was like, okay, I can do this. So yeah, it was great.
By September, I'd hit $8,000 in sales from July 1st to September.
Yeah, it was like you were holding the flag and leading the charge up the hill on the Facebook page, which helped everybody else grab their flag and charge up the hill. And that's what I'm going to ask of everybody who's watching right now, is to grab your flag, right, ladies? And you're going to charge up the hill heading into July. You can see there on the screen, it's a 3-day event, and it's called the Trifecta. We've been training on this since 2014. The gals here came in 2015. So you have the 3 tickets, and it's cumulative. That becomes the entire Trifecta workshop. You have Shop Your Way to Wealth on Friday, Online Shopping Profit System, which is all done through your computer. You can hire a VA. We teach and train you how to do that. And the BFPS workshop. These are 3 arbitrage methods. You ladies have done all 3, correct?
Yep.
And all 3 methods. Okay. So ladies and gentlemen, grab your ticket. It's ebstickets.com is where you go. And then Coach Kurt, why don't we move to Q&A? And while we're there at Q&A, here's a really cool story, is that Kay and Sarah became business partners as a result, to mutually hardworking, highly enthusiastic members who did extremely well in their own right individually, and decided to go, you know what, I think we can do more together. And so that's a really cool thing that can happen as a result of the amazing networking, which Kay, you said pretty strongly, come for the networking. So why don't you two share a quick, I think you've been JVing for about 3 years, but you formalized it in the last few months, being business partners now.
Yep. It seemed kind of ridiculous to kind of keep going. You know, in running your business, there's a lot of different subscriptions that you pay for that make you more efficient running your business. And so we just looked at things and we thought, you know what, let's just merge this. Let's legally make our business one. We can streamline our subscriptions. We're only going to need 1 inventory lab account. We're only going to need 1 repricer account. We're only,
Whoa. I can interrupt.
You say that, because that wasn't what I was thinking about at all. You're on the bottom line, and I'm like,
back the trade up. Before you got to that point,
all 3 of us should just talk at the same time, because I think we're like, wait a minute. So many different reasons.
Sarah, Kay, hold your thoughts, Sarah. What was it that, you two got to the point now that you're doing this high level business stuff, looking at efficiencies and so on and so forth. You met her, but by the time using an analogy, you kind of see someone from across the room, and in a sense, then you date, then you get engaged, then you get married. What was it about?
No, we didn't even like each other all that much when we first met. And maybe it was I was kind of critical, Kay, because I'd seen all this stuff, right? She's selling. I'm like, yeah. So I get there. So when I go to one of these events, I'm the annoying person in the front row who keeps asking questions and interrupting the teacher, right?
Yes.
Just can't. You're not going to argue with me on that one, huh, Cart? All right. Well, so yes, that's a fact. And so I'm always like trying to find out what's not being told, right? What other trick is there behind? What else they got in the bag? Or what's the angle, or just the why behind the what. And Kay was not really interested in the why. She really just wanted, just tell me what to do. I'm going to go do it, which is what I love about Kay. And one of the reasons why I think we are great partners is that she's actually very similar to my husband. She just doesn't, what you were talking before, she doesn't worry about stuff. She just does it. And for me, I'm much more, I got to get it all sorted out in my head first.
How did the community gals help you in terms of live events and then virtual stuff and on and on? Obviously, you cultivated a great, beautiful friendship now, and you're business partners. How does a community and live events grease those wheels for things like this to happen?
Well, we know more than just the material. We really, I think there's a lot more to implementing than just reading some instruction set. It's the experiential part of doing that really helps somebody duplicate. And at least for me, I think, you know, if I can really sit down with people who are like-minded and trying to create the similar business, and talk about the experiences, the challenges, the doubts, the excitement, the great things that happen, how much time do you spend on X, Y, and Z? It just, it makes it more real, it makes it more believable, and it gives me a lot more breadth of tools than just following the booklet that comes with any class that you can get online. And there's so many classes out there. It's not like this is the only opportunity in the world to learn about e-commerce, but it's the only one I know about where people are really working together as a team. Whether or not you have a joint venture or not is really just a side thing. I mean, this has been great. We love each other, and there are benefits to it, but you don't need to do it this way. What the real value in the people is at the events. I mean, yeah, Facebook Lives, great, and getting on Facebook and chatting with people and answering questions that you have. Hey, I don't know how to do this. Somebody tell me how. Boom, it's answered within minutes. That's cool too, and that's part of our community, is that there's always somebody online who's there who can say, hey, let me share with you how I solved this problem. But getting to sit down and have lunch with people and have dinner with people and spend class time together and really work through things and just solidifies it in a way that says, I can do this. It makes it more believable, gives you confidence just beyond what you'd ever imagine.
Well, Kay, it's been all smooth sailing, no bumps in the road, right? How has Sarah helped you along the way, forming this friendship and ultimately deep friendship and business partnership? How tell us about that.
Well, so like Sarah said, that we each have different strengths and weaknesses, and we tend to balance and complement each other. The beauty of having a partner is you learn together. You know, you're learning something new, and it can be kind of scary, you know. And when we were, say, ready to tackle wholesale, it was kind of daunting. But the fact that you were doing with somebody, you weren't doing it alone, made it easier to tackle. And as you talk about the training, you may interpret something one way, she interprets it another way, and you hash it out, and you end up, there's a synergy there that you kind of get. So it's like 1 + 1 = 6. Not 1 + 1 = 2. And so that's what we found in our business. And the other thing is, you know, there are going to be bumps in the road. There's times when I'm down, Sarah's up. There's times when Sarah's down, I'm up. It always seems to complement, almost like my marriage. There's times when my husband's down, I'm up. There's times when I'm down, he's up, you know. And so you're able to lift each other up and keep yourself motivated. It also gives you an accountability partner. So you can't sit on your butt and not do anything, because you know you got to report into somebody and they are expecting you to do something, or you take different responsibilities and she's going to do this and I'm going to do that, and you don't dare not do it because you don't want to disappoint the other person, you know. So we've become really good friends. She lives in Texas. I'm currently in Maryland. I'm actually driving on my way to North Carolina to look at a house. We may be moving to North Carolina soon. She's actually come and visited me at my house. We have yet to go to Austin, but it's in our plan. Our husbands actually get along very well, which is kind of fun. So we're excited about that. But it's just been, you know, the in-person contact, there's just nothing to describe the networking of an event. So even when you can watch it virtually, which I've done that too, you know, when things life gets in the way sometimes and you just can't make it there personally. So you can still take advantage of the training, but there is just nothing that compares to the networking that goes on at those events. I've made some of the best friends in the community, but my bestest friend is Sarah.
Aww. And I always bring it back to where this is from sociologists who say your future is created or determined by the 5 top people you associate with. Whomever those associations are, that's what you become. And so all the more to be very mindful of that. We have, for example, our mastermind groups inside the E-commerce Masters program, where that's where you two started to get to know each other, as you had shared previously. Yes, through the events, but when you're in the mastermind group, you start to get to know each other pretty well. And I think from what I heard, that's when you start to get to know each other better and see that you have an affinity for a good working relationship.
Mm-hmm. That's
all
exactly
right.
what happened.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much, ladies. I really appreciate you being here. Coach Kurt, thank you for coming in and saving the day. I don't know what changed to give us great sound quality the second time through, but I guess you just got some magic pixie dust on yourself, and that'll do.
All
So
right.
make sure, folks, if you're not in our community yet, go to joinebs.com. Join us in our group. You're going to meet Kay and Sarah there. They're our certified trainers, as well as we have others. And then go to abstickets.com to join us in Minnesota. It's going to be an awesome trifecta event. So thanks, everybody, for joining us in this Saturday morning live. So thank you, ladies, so much. I really, really appreciate your time.
Lots of fun. Have a great weekend,
Lots of
everyone.
fun. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.